Do you feel as if King Charles can trust Prince Harry? 0207 862 2222. We'd love to know what you think. Now, of course, what we're saying really here is, can a father trust his own son? Now, Sarah, you've written a piece about this in the Daily Mail today, and you are very dubious about
I'm a bit cautious about it,
Harry's
to be honest.
trustworthiness. Why is that?
Well, because he has betrayed a lot of his family's secrets. Remember, he wrote about his father having to take his teddy bear with him everywhere he went in his book. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So he said some things that were really quite personal about his family, and quite mean in a funny kind of a way. You know, you have to sort of, but you know, I think Harry has been going through something. He's been working out his anger, his issues, all of that kind of stuff, which is fine, by the way. But I think a reconciliation is a great idea, because who doesn't want to reconcile, you know, with your child, with your father, whatever. But I just think just proceed with a little bit of caution, because you just don't know whether he's going to sort of go rogue again and suddenly divulge lots of stuff that you probably don't want him to divulge.
I mean, already the story today is that the Sussexes are meant to be, and who knows whether this is genuine or isn't, but frustrated that the meeting itself has been leaked and we all now know about it. Now, if they weren't being proclaimed to be frustrated, it might be suggested, mightn't it, that they were the people that leaked it, because we know that they are quite good at doing that and putting stories in.
Yeah, I mean that is traditionally how they have operated.
Yes.
So it's not unreasonable to think that. But I think that if we're seeing a meeting in public, you can almost be certain that there have been lots of other meetings in private. So for it to actually get to this stage, I think it's probably at a fairly advanced stage. And I think, you know, Charles is, you know, he's not getting any younger. He's been quite ill. And, you know, he hasn't even, I don't think he's even met Lilibet.
I think he's met Lilibet once.
He's met Lilibet once.
When she was a baby.
She was a baby. So he hasn't really had a relationship with his grandchildren.
Yeah.
I think any normal human would want to do that. And I think it's a good idea for them to reconcile. I just think that there need to be some boundaries for Harry, because he needs a few boundaries, I think.
But Jemma, imagine a reconciliation with an actual member of your family into which you need to incorporate boundaries. How do you do that? Because how stilted would it be if you couldn't really relax because the whole time you were concerned that it all might end up being blasted across the media? I mean, in your own home with your own child, even if your home's a palace, it's still your home.
And just even the sort of, if you drone out, it's so odd that you've got people meeting on your behalf to discuss this. It's so sad they can't chuck each other a text. You know, just go, hi, should we sort this?
Or pick up the phone. I know.
But it's partly the lack of trust, I suppose, Paul, that means that they sent proxies rather than just having a meeting themselves. Because if Charles feels he can't trust his son not to leak it, then how can he just kind of bowl in for a quick chat?
Here we are on national television talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care?
I couldn't care less. I'm very happy, well, not very happy, but I think it's good that any father reconciles with his son, especially after Diana's death and all the rest of it. Beyond that, I don't care. Harry, go away.
Go away?
You chose to go away. You've made an enormous amount of money through being Prince Harry that you wouldn't have made in Los Angeles if you hadn't been. Go away.
I mean, I have a little slightly cynical view, which is that obviously Harry's currency out in the world is that he is a member of the royal family. We've seen that he doesn't really have any other skills to offer. He's not. So for him, it's quite important that he makes sure that the world knows that he has this connection. So the cynic in me would say, well, he's running low on royal juice, so he's come back. He's trying to get some more.
Maybe he saw that last interview that happened, the funny one that's been absolutely, everybody has howled at it, the one where they were talking about not yet.
Yeah.
And maybe he just thought, I can't handle this.
I mean, Meghan's interview with what's-her-face. Yeah, I guess we have seen that one. Oh, my gosh.
He's
I can't remember her name, but yes. Huh?
He's Prince Edward, he's Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
When the Queen was alive, we concentrated on Charles and Diana and Harry. Now we're concentrating on William and his children. Harry, I mean, don't wish him any harm. Don't get me wrong, got nothing against him, but I don't care.
But if you're the king, if you're the king, don't you think if it's your child, you almost don't care why they want to reconcile? You just love them. They're your child. You just want to reconcile.
But as a parent, you're only ever as happy as your unhappiest child. Isn't that the case? So he's obviously Charles's unhappiest child. I think one of the things that Charles needs to be a bit careful about is William, because William has been the perfect son, and he's done all the things that were required of him, and he's held everything together, and he just gets up every day and does what is asked of him. So don't reward the naughty one.
That's the prodigal son, though. This is biblical stuff. This is Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, the prodigal son. We all know this story. That's the thing. Let's go to Anne, who's on the line in Nottinghamshire. Anne, hello. Thank you so much for ringing. How do you feel about this?
I think that your question infers that that Harry's responsible for everything that's negative in the relationship, and I don't think that's fair. And as for the briefings, with the Fab Four, when they looked on camera, I know because I've got a friend in one of the palaces that, in fact, Camilla and Charles were briefing against the Fab Four because they were getting more publicity than Camilla and Charles. And in fact, most people in the royal household know that when Meghan said that someone was made a racist comment, it was Camilla. They know it was Camilla.
Obviously, you're asserting that. We've got no way whatsoever of proving that. And I think it's been heavily suggested that it wasn't Camilla at all, but certainly your sources. Well, your sources have told you that, but we can't confirm or deny that, Anne. But you think, do you, that Harry needs to worry about trusting his father rather than the other way round? Is that how you feel about it?
I think they brief about everything. I mean, his father did Dimbleby. His uncle Edward sold pictures of William at university when he was not supposed to.
I think you've got a whole lot of information, I think, that isn't in the public domain, Anne. So just so you don't get yourself or anyone else into trouble, I think we may have to say a very cordial farewell. And thank you so much for ringing. But, I mean, I can't confirm, corroborate any of that stuff, I'm afraid. Or maybe I'm glad I can't, because I can't. Let's go to Sue in Middlesbrough on this one. Sue, what do you think? Do you think they stand a good chance of building bridges together and living happily ever after?
Oh, hello. Thank you for having me on the show. I love Vanessa very much. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just very sad that it's had to come to this. I mean, I truly believe that Harry was amazing. He was a good lad and he was a happy lad. And when he met Meghan, he was over the moon to be married. He was looking forward to the four of them. Literally him and his future wife at the time, to work together for the royal family. But unfortunately, they didn't. She decided, and I do think, and only my opinion, that it was her that took him away. It was her that wasn't happy with what was going on, and he totally tried to protect her and.
OK, but if we scroll forward now, Sue, to what we've got going on now, which we think is this meeting, which we hope is inching towards reconciliation. Otherwise, what are they meeting for? What do you think of the prospects there? I mean, you've given us the history, but what do you think about now?
Yeah. Well, I really don't think she would come. I think if he wanted to come and make his life again with his dad and his family, but I don't think she would.
Yeah, but this doesn't mean transplanting from Montecito and having to come and live in this country. It just means, could they see each other? Could they meet cordially? Could they have holidays? Could they, all convene at Balmoral? It's that kind of thing. It doesn't mean that Meghan has to uproot and come and live here, does it? And I don't think anyone's suggesting that she would, or that anybody thinks she would.
No, well...
Sue, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you. Let's go to Anne in West Yorkshire. You're concerned, Anne, about this. What are you worrying about?
What I'm worrying about is that he has got real problems, I think, and I do feel sorry for Harry, but I do think that this is going to reflect on William and if he's so attention-seeking, I think it could ruin Prince William's reign, to be honest with you, and that does worry me. I think he needs to be very carefully managed if they are going to reconcile with him.
Well, I'll tell you who's nodding along is Sarah Vine.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, William does need to be taken into consideration here. I mean, there was that horrible thing where I think it was Meghan said that, or was it Harry? I can't remember which one said that the Princess of Wales had made her cry, and then there was this whole spat about who'd made who cry. And so I think that there's very bad bloods between them still. And I don't think they were particularly... And again, the Princess of Wales has been ill, she's had cancer, she's been through quite a lot. William's been very protective of her. Harry hasn't really engaged. There's not been a sense of... So I just think you have to be a bit careful that, you've got one boy who's doing absolutely everything that he should do, and another boy who's being a bit of a prat. Don't mess up the good boys.
But there is this phrase, I remember, oh God, I must have been at school when I was taught this phrase, the tyranny of the weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the weaker
it's
one.
so attention-seeking. As your caller says, it's attention-seeking. It's that child that gets all the attention for behaving badly. And it's just really, really upsetting.
But is there a way of putting this kind of thing behind you in a family? Because the overwhelming emotion is love and also regret for what's happened and wanting to put everything back on a better footing. Can you just put it behind you and carry on, move forward?
It would be so nice if they could. I still think of Harry as the little lad that lost his mum.
Trailing behind that
at the heart
coffin,
of all of this, and you never will forget that. No. It was so sad, and so it's no surprise that there's been some issues over the years, but it is what they call a bit of a hot mess, right? Mm-hmm. When you think of all the different things that need to be taken into consideration.
Okay, let's bring in Stephen, who's on the line in Shropshire. Hi, Stephen. Thanks for calling. What do you reckon?
Well, you sure got a difficult one here. The reality is, I'm a bit daft, really, because I've always considered King Charles to be my brother. He was born 6 weeks before me, and we flowed through life together, and completely different, of course. I've got 3 sons. My sons have all stayed friends. One lives in America, 2 live in Shropshire, Staffordshire. And we run a business, and they're all part of it in a way. But you can't let families crash down like this. Everyone needs to step backwards. They need to relax, think again, and let logic take its own process. You've got a father, and you've got 3 sons, and there's absolutely no gain for any of them to let that crash.
And that is a hell of a good point, actually. Stephen, thanks so much for calling. There's no gain in this schism.
No,
nobody gains. It's horrible, isn't it?
Well, I think Harry just
gains.
Harry just had this anger in him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that he was very angry about what happened to his mother, and I think he blamed his father. And I'm sort of with you. I don't think that was an unreasonable response to what happened, very traumatic events in his childhood. But then the brothers went in 2 different directions, didn't they? Because William found a very solid woman who's obviously helped him through, and Harry found somebody who just said, let's go. You've got to leave all these people behind. So that's why we've had this sort of crisis. They should ultimately be friends, but it's never going to be perfect.
Let's talk to Kathleen in Cumbria, see what she has to say. Do you, Kathleen, there's been too much water under the bridge, really, and it won't be reparable, this relationship?
No, I don't think they should. No, I would not trust him. I think he's just in line to write another book for the lies that he's already told. I think it's a scam between him and his wife. And he lost his case against the security in this country with the Home Office, and I think it's just a scam to get back in to get what he wanted. And there's a big saying in Cumbria, never poo on your own doorstep, and by God, he's done a big one.
Well, that's a particularly unattractive phrase for all the beautiful things that they say in Cumbria that you could have chosen, all the poetry you could have quoted. You decided to share that phrase with us. I'm going to try and pretend I didn't hear you, and I'm going to discuss something charming, bucolic and delightful instead. Kathleen, thank you very much indeed. Coming